Oh, shit. I feel like shit is the answer today. You are going to see the fastest Showdown Hoedown in the history of Showdown Hoedown because I don't fucking feel good, Bob. What's up, new guy? My name's James, also known as the Sickly Dude today, who will never let you down. Against all odds, he's still here doing a stream just for you when he feels like an asshole. I am a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better. I'm not going to do it with picks and plays, but a little thing called the process. If that sounds interesting, I encourage you to hang around for probably like 15 minutes today. Big guy ain't going to be around long, all right? If you really find you like the cut of my jib, you check out that schedule right there. I do this show every Monday and Thursday, breaking down the games. Also do a main slate for Saturday night, and me and Tam will break down the slate every Tuesday. We'll be on his channel this week. Also do golf, college football, and soon to be NASCAR, so feel free to come check those out. Make sure you're hitting the like button over there for every one of you. If we get to 50 likes, I'll draw a name and we will play in the big millionaire or the half a millionaire maker, whatever it is tonight. Okay, we might have to punt because I'm telling you, I think I'm gonna crawl in bed and die. All right. I'm going to start with prop bets. We're getting into them. I'm adding prop bets to my site in 2024 for less than $10 a month because the price that people charge for these prop picks, they're using the same projections and stuff that I am, so why charge people so much? I don't get it. So there you go. Prop picks. Number one, Darnell Mooney under 2.5 receptions. First of all, I believe that we call that guy Harry Houdini because his ass will just ghost you, right? He'll just disappear on you, right? He is a dude that just gets lost in the shuffle a lot. 2.5 receptions. I would take the under on 2.5 targets, let alone receptions. A lot of his targets are downfield, and those are not high percentage catches, right? So I'm going to take the under on Darnell Mooney. This next one, I got to tell you, I don't love, but this is just me trusting the system, right? Just trusting the system. Cole Kmet under 39.5 receiving yards. There is a little bit of value baked into that number. If you were going to fade one of these, I would fade this one. This is the one that I could see going either way, but we just looked at the 3 best bets from our projections, and this was one of them. But another good one, Josh Dobbs, old alien-looking Josh Dobbs. Give him his longest completion under 35.5 yards. Hell, I think there's a better chance he'll run one for over 35.5 yards than he'll throw one. I know they got Addison. I know he's a deep threat, but Josh Dobbs, he don't throw pretty deep balls, all right? Let's get over to the Rosetta Stone, the blank one, right? And let's talk about this slate as we always do. I'll get you caught up. Deontay Foreman is out, which I think clears up that backfield a little bit. I think you're going to see Khalil Herbert leading that backfield, and you're going to see Roschon Johnson filling in for probably about 30-35% of the plays. I don't expect Travis Homer to be real involved, right? He could hit a big one or a homer. Thank you. Sick guy humor. Thank you. And really, that's the only major injury of note. Of course, Justin Jefferson is still out, so I guess we need to add that one. But we've been adjusting to life without Jefferson for 4 or 5 weeks now, right? The total is actually pretty decent, right? 44-point total, which is slightly above average in the NFL. Hell, this year is way above average, right? And when you have a 44-point total in a dome, you have to assume this game probably has some potential to be a little higher scoring than people are anticipating. Minnesota is favored by a field goal, so right there, what information can we glean from that? Well, I think the most obvious one is people are going to lean towards Minnesota more in the captain spot and in their builds. I think 3-3s will be the most common build tonight with the Viking at captain, but if I had to guess, 4-2 Vikings will also be very popular with a Viking at the captain. So right off the hop, I think that the ways that you can use just the total of this game to get different, your roster composition to just get different is look at 4-2 Chicago Bills. Look at 5-1 Chicago Bills. If you think Minnesota's going to blow them out, go 5-1 Minnesota, right? But more than that, let's talk a little bit about how this game's going to play out. I think most people are going to play this game as kind of a moderate game. They'll probably go quarterback, 2 wide receivers on one side, maybe a running back, a kicker, and a wide receiver on the other side. Builds like that are going to be very, very popular tonight. So I think you always want to keep in mind that when Justin Fields and Joshua Dobbs are your quarterback, there is a chance the game is just a freaking grind fest, right? But I will tell you, something about it being in Minnesota and watching Chicago very intensely last week as Justin Fields returned, their offense was actually really efficient, right? I know they were playing the Lions, who don't stop anybody, but I'm telling you, Chicago looked good. Justin Fields looked good. And weirdly enough, Joshua Dobbs doesn't even suck that bad, which just baffles me. So I think what you could do tonight is maybe you play a shootout narrative, right? Maybe you go 3-3 build, but you go Justin Fields, Joshua Dobbs, and then go grab 2 of their pass catchers, right? Or maybe a third down running back. Maybe you go get some Ty Chandler or something like that. I think that build will be decently popular, but I do think that is a way that not a lot of people will be playing. To completely fade the defenses, completely fade the kickers, I think there would be a lot of value in that, right? Especially if you are putting one of the wide receivers, one of the pass catchers at captain. I think that would open up a lot. You can see both these teams play above average pace, and both of these teams, they're moving the ball better recently, right? Josh Dobbs has been a nice fresh breath of fresh air for Minnesota, and I already told you Fields looked good last week as he came back from injury. Going through the teams, look, Justin Fields is awesome because he offers you that nice, safe upside. He throws a big, deep ball. Legit, he can get there on 2 plays, like one 40-yard rushing touchdown and one 50-yard passing bomb. That's usually how he gets his points, which I think because he relies so much on big plays to get his points, you can always be open to fading that, right? And just hope that those big plays don't work out for him. And $11,200, he has a big price tag to pay off. But if you think this game is going to be a shootout, I don't see any way on God's green earth that Justin Fields does not get there if this game is 31-28 or something like that, right? Moving to running back, Khalil Herbert is still leading that backfield, but Roschon is cutting into that, right? Roschon is out there. He's getting some of the third down work, and if you just watch him, Roschon kind of seems like he's got a little bit more tread on the tires. And so I think that both of those guys are fine. If you think Chicago is going to blow them out, I guess you could play them both, but the problem is Justin Fields just nerfs a lot of their upside with how much he steals in the rushing game. DJ Moore at $10,400. DJ Moore is pretty freaking good. Him and Justin Fields have a good chemistry. Here's the problem. DJ Moore should not be $10,400, right? He should be like $9,200 on this slate. So at $10,400, he is overpriced, and I think that will naturally, inherently keep his ownership down lower than you would expect. So DJ Moore can become a really good play. And let's not forget, DJ Moore can break a freaking slate. So do not be afraid to put him at captain. Remember that one game he had like legit like 80 points in the captain spot. What was that, week 3 or 4 or whatever? Darnell Mooney, I already told you, I nicknamed that guy Houdini because his ass will disappear on you. He is a dude that if you want to double stack Fields, I think Mooney makes a lot of sense. But honestly, I don't think there's a huge difference between Mooney, Scott, Equiminius, and Velus Jones, right? Those guys, he's on the field more, he runs more routes, but he also has the problem of he fucking sucks, right? That's his problem. So, if you want to play one of these punt wide receivers for the Bears as your price relief, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Tyler Scott and Equimini St. Brown have nearly the same floor as Darnell Mooney, which is 0. At tight end, Cole Kmet, dude's good. Like, he's a legit good tight end. He gets targeted a lot. I will warn you, the Vikings have been very good against tight ends recently, so I keep that in mind. We are taking the under on his yards. Robert Tonyan is getting involved more. He's been running more snaps the past few games, so be watching out for him. And Mercedes Lewis is just a blocking tight end, but sometimes they'll do that block and release play down on the goal line. The game's in a dome tonight, so I'm always warm to kickers, especially with these two teams who have been able to move the ball but may struggle with efficiency. I could definitely see Santos getting there. And the Bears D, not the greatest. Josh Dobbs, believe it or not, actually takes pretty good care of the ball. But if you're running a Bears onslaught, I think that maybe you want to give strong consideration to them. Moving over to Minnesota, Joshua Dobbs, the alien-looking mofo, $10,000. I mean, honestly, that's a really fair price, right? Like he should. I don't think there should be a $1,200 difference between him and Fields. He's at home. He offers, not as much rushing upside as Justin Fields, but that dude will get on his little horsey and giddy his ass up. So he's a very interesting play, but because he's at that discounted discounted price, I think you're going to see him with higher ownership. Speaking about Minnesota's backfield, it's a little bit more complicated. First of all, CJ Ham, this is his time of year. You got Thanksgiving and Christmas, CJ Ham season. Don't run with that narrative. Don't do it. Okay. Here's what you need to know. Alexander Mattison and Ty Chandler both looked really good in the Vikings last game. Like it was about a 60-40 split, Mattison to Ty Chandler. But Ty Chandler gets more valuable touches, right? There's two kinds of touches that he's getting that Alexander Madison's not. He's getting a lot of targets out of the backfield. We know how valuable those points are. And second of all, he's getting to be the change of pace guy who comes in when the defenses are a little bit tired. Alexander Mattison just gets to smash his face into a guard's ass 13 times, and then here comes Ty Chandler all juiced up. I think 5,800. I think that Ty Chandler is probably one of the better plays on the slate. But the fact that he's only $1,600 cheaper than Madison, if you think Minnesota's going to whoop that ass tonight, I don't even hate the Vikings double stack at running back. And we have seen that double stack at running backs in lineups get there in some of these past showdown slates. Moving over to wide receiver, as I already told you, Justin Jefferson's out. Nobody has really seemed to want to take over that wide receiver core with Jefferson being out. Addison, the rookie, has been good. He has been getting better, but he's very, very reliant on the big plays. As you can see, he's only getting 5.3 targets a game. And when you're paying $8,200, let's just play the numbers and say he gets 5 targets. He gets 4 catches. 4 catches for even 80 yards. That's probably not paying off that price tag, right? Unless the game's just an absolute slog. So you almost get touchdown dependent when you see Jordan Addison as $8,200 because of the minimal amount of targets that he gets. Maybe they'll have some new plays tonight. They'll hit him short. But we've already seen that Brandon Powell's the guy they like to get the ball on the quick screens and stuff like that. Brandon Powell at $2,000 is going to be a ruru popular because not only is he good, not only is he electric, they draw up plays to get him the ball. He gets tons of catches at or around the line of scrimmage, and those are super valuable because the second he catches, you already got 1 point, and then he can always take those motherfathers to the house because that guy's quick. KJ Osborne, I mean, I don't know what you want to say about this guy. He's on the field all the time. He runs a lot of routes, but Jesus, he's just not that good, Bob. I used to like KJ Osborne, but now that this big role has emerged for him, he has not taken advantage of it with Jefferson being out. I think the true alpha for Minnesota is T.J. Hawkinson. Joshua Dobbs loves throwing the ball to tight ends. He loves throwing the ball to T.J. Hawkinson, and I'm really glad they priced him up to $9,000 because, honestly, he's probably the best pass catcher on this slate, right? I would rather have him over, like, DJ Moore, anybody. He gets a ton of targets. He's good. He gets red zone targets. I mean, I'm not kidding. I bet he gets 10 to 12 targets tonight minimum, which is a crazy thing to say about a tight end not named Kelsey. Don't forget, Josh Oliver coming off the big game, too. Got a lot of targets. We know Josh Dobbs loves throwing the ball to tight ends, and Josh Oliver can fall in the box, just like he did last game. Always warmed him. I don't know about old Johnny Mute, but, if you're a sicko and you want to play him, you can. But I honestly think that I would like both of those tight ends probably more than I like freaking KJ Osborne. Lastly, Greg Joseph at home in the Dome. You always got to assume that kickers could get there tonight, especially if this game's like a 19-16 game. The teams are somewhat moving the ball. They just can't finish in the end zone. Kickers almost always outpace in those types of games. And the Vikings defense is always very live because Justin Fields is always just a fumble waiting to happen. I believe Brandon Powell, somebody in the chat can let me know, but I believe Brandon Powell has been returning the punts for him. And if he's been doing it, maybe you double him and the Vikings defense up, and you can get double points if he returns one to the house, okay? All right, I see 55 likes, editor. Go ahead and draw me a name. Hey, at the top of the hour, guys, don't forget Hoop and Tambo and Tyler will be doing their show over on the Ship It Nation channel. They'll probably go a lot more in depth because I doubt they're dying like I am. I'm gonna have to have a talk with Tambo. What the hell are we gonna do tomorrow? You better hope the big guy feels better tomorrow. Let me get a swig of the cold brew. All right, editor. Go ahead and draw. I'm going to answer some questions while the editor draws, and then we get out of here. I'm going to go crawl under a rock and die. Can you see this being a shootout game? Doing a 3-3, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you think it's a shootout, 3-3s are most often going to get there, Tweezy. Absolutely. And I would probably be doing both quarterbacks in a shootout, probably 3 wide receivers, and maybe like a third down running back or something like that. Those are going to be the guys that usually get the most value. And I shouldn't say receivers. I should say pass catchers, right? Tight ends and receivers. So if I'm making a shootout lineup, I'm probably trying to get both quarterbacks, or maybe you could get away with one because of what they do with their legs. Probably 3 pass catchers, 2 from one team, 1 from the other, and like a third down back. Those are the kind of guys who really do well in shootout games. Make sure to hit the like. The shank gets it. Don't make him shank you. All right. 5-1 Vikings with Fields at captain viable. Sure. He's the kind of guy that can carry it on his own. Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Herbert should be low-owned captain tonight. Oh, yeah. Khalil Herbert's going to be very low-owned. I would be shocked if he's over like 5 or 6%. And if Chicago gets ahead, Khalil Herbert is still good, and he is still going to be leading the backfield. Maybe they go with a hot hand. He gets off to a good start. I don't hate that Snoopaloop. Do you like Powell and St. Brown today? I really like Powell, sure. But, I don't think that I'm like breaking news that Powell's good. And, yes, I do think Equimini, St. Brown, and Tyler Scott are pretty interesting. It's more just a believer that I think Darnell Mooney sucks. So, Darnell Mooney going for 30 tonight. This game feels like it has to be a shootout, so it's obviously going to be the opposite, right? I agree, Brian. The more I think about it with that total in a dome with these offenses, I do think that that maybe playing 2 kickers and a defense, a running back, having a build like that is going to have you dramatically different than the general builds tonight. I think I do agree with that. A way to get viable with Dobbs in a lineup. What the fuck's the question? A way to get viable with Dobbs in the lineup. I mean, if you're playing Dobbs, you're probably going to want to have 1 pass catcher. I think you could skinny stack Dobbs and Hawkinson, and then run it back with 4 Bears. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Slovakia. A sad avid Bears fan. I have no idea which Fields is going to show up. Good. Look, this is all we can go off of. Since he came back from that injury, Matt, he looked really good last week. I played him in all my fantasy lineups, and he came out looking real good. Real good. Oh, Jesus, I just forgot. I need to make the retrospective. It ain't happening. Am I crazy for trying to lock Bears D down tonight? No, I think either one of these defenses, Dobbs and Justin Fields, are not afraid to trying to do too much, fumbling it. Defenses picks it up, takes it to the house, right? A sack, fumble recovery, take it to the house. Those 9-point plays, often just that one play, which is very likely with these 2 quarterbacks holding on the ball too long or trying to do too much. Those can guarantee that a defense will get there just with one play. Dobbs captain, very contrarian? No, I don't think so. I mean, he'll be lower owned than some guys, but $10,000, he's going to be pretty popular because it's only $15,000 at the captain spot, and you're getting a quarterback who runs. If playing cash is a better strategy to find low-owned captain, no. When you play cash, you want to play the chalkiest guys, right? Because you're not trying to get cute in cash. The whole point of cash is to not get cute. I would take the best value, and I would put them at my captain spot, right? So whoever you think the best value is, I get them at my captain spot. I would probably say somebody like, I don't know, Hawkinson or somebody like that. Not the most expensive guy on the slate because then you got to usually double punt. But also, I don't like to punt at my captain for cash either. Am I crazy for playing both quarterbacks and both Ds? No, I think that these quarterbacks could both get there with their legs and still have 2 turnovers apiece, right? So, yeah, I think that could happen. Thoughts on, and the best part is FPLN Finn is I don't think many people will have that build. Thoughts on Ty Chandler? He seems to be gaining steam. Yeah, I like Ty Chandler quite a bit, but I'm telling you, we're not going to be the only ones, Delbert, to have thought of this. Are we limited to one question today? Yeah, the pepperoni pizza have not been feeling good since then, so we're going to assume that might have been contributing. I mean, I'm sweating like a whore in church right now. All right, let's see. He's sticking still here. Man of the people. Moore at captain, another monster game. I will say this. I think DJ Moore at 10,400 is going to be pretty low owned at captain tonight. And I love wide receivers at captain. They can get there quite frequently, and he is definitely the alpha of that Chicago passing game. And once again, I don't want to overreact, but I will tell you the Bears looked really, really good offensively last week when Justin Fields returned. I mean, I watched that entire game, play by play. 5-1 Viking stacks for all the money. Yeah, I think so. The Vikings could easily beat the shit out of the Bears, right? At the end of the day, the Bears are still the Bears, right? And you know what? We always see this, right? People overreacting. Oh, my God, they beat the Lions. They're good. But, they're still the Bears. All right. Is it a double tight end night? I do like the tight ends on this slate quite a bit, Brett. QB at captain with opposing quarterback and wide receiver builds. Will that be the most popular? Yes. Maybe throw in a third down running back, too. Do you feel it could be a 3-3 build tonight? Yeah, I think this game, I think these teams are very, very even right now, right? So I think 3-3 builds, if I had to guess the optimal, somebody said put your right testicle on the table, and you have to guess it. I would guess it's probably a 3-3 build, and I don't know which side the captain would come from. But it does feel like a 3-3 night, which is, not something I love to build because, when you do a 3-3 build, you start to get into the same builds as everybody else. But if you think that's how the game's going to play out, you got to play it, right? If you think this game's going to be, 24-23 and somebody kicks a field goal to win at the end, there's a very good chance that 3 guys from each team got there, right? Do you think Justin Fields will show up enough to have both Kmet and Moore in a lineup with him? Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money, Mike. You're putting a lot of money between Fields, Moore, and Kmet. You've given up vastly more than your allotted salary to the Bears. So you really are getting yourself into a narrow scope that they need to all do well. I will say this. I have a hard time seeing Justin Fields paying off that price tag and then also giving enough work to Kmet and Moore to get there. Right? And the worst part is I think it's going to be pretty highly owned. So you're playing something that has a very narrow script to get there, and you're playing it in a chalky space. Let's see. All right, do you have to feel who is a better pass catcher, Madison or Chandler? Oh, Chandler definitely is, right? Madison's butterfingers, man. Double tight end slate, don't mind it. Okay, Hey, Delbert won the drawing. There you go, Delbs. I'm not going to lie, we might punt. Might have to wait till Thursday or Sunday or something. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish in the past? Chocolate pie. I don't know if it's a Thanksgiving dish around here, you motherfather. John, is 3 tight ends too many in one lineup? No, I mean, that's definitely different, right? Kmet and Hawkinson, I like both of them. And so, if you want to throw a punt one in with either Oliver or Tanyan, that's a way that I think you're getting very active pass catchers, right? I think the tight ends tonight are basically wide receiver lights, right? I'm telling you, I would rather have these receivers. I'd rather have Kmet over anybody from the Bears other than Moore, and I would rather have Hawkinson over anybody from the Vikings. Hell, I'd probably even rather have Josh Oliver over some of these guys. How many running backs is too much tonight? I think you could I guess you could do up to 3, right? Maybe 1 from Chicago and then both of the Minnesota guys. I could see that. So maybe 3, but I mean, man, you really, running backs, they just get outpaced. They're very touchdown dependent often, unless they have a big catching role out of the backfield. Dobbs and Field rushing touchdown tonight? Probably. Mr. Addison, a good captain. I think he's going to be pretty popular at captain. At 8,200, people love wide receivers at captains. He's the number 1 pass catcher. Let me rephrase that. The number 1 wide receiver for Minnesota. So I think he's a fine captain, but just don't think that you're getting different than everybody else. In a shootout, does the kicker or punt wide receiver get more points? definitely. Well, I mean, it depends. I would say 50-50 because kickers can do well in a shootout too, right? Like if the team scores 27, your kicker probably has gotten you 9 or 10 points. What would you say Madison's ceiling is today? Oh, God, I don't love Madison. I would say, I guess his ceiling would be 20 points. I think we have him projected around 10 or 11 is like his median, so not very high. What's the most salary you'd leave on the table? I think I could leave upwards of 1,000 to 1,500. Bad idea to play both quarterbacks naked with 4 RBs. Sorry, Bill. When I read 4 RBs, I instantly thought college football. Bad idea to play both quarterbacks naked with 4 RBs. No, I mean, with these pass catchers, if this game turns into just running the ball, I could see that. And I'll tell you this, Bill, that's a very, very different build. I would want to throw like at least one tight end in there. Just throw one tight end. 3 running backs, 1 tight end. Thoughts on 4-2 Bear stack with Hawkinson at captain? I like it. Hawkinson is a guy that could get there, but maybe trailing from behind, and 4 Bears get there because they're controlling the game. Bears or Viking stacks? Who would be more popular? Oh, the favorite's always going to be more popular, Matthew. So Vikings will be more popular on the stacks. Is there a notable history in this divisional matchup? Is there a notable history? Yes, there is a big notable history. They play twice a year. That's the big news there. All right, let's see. Last question, because I want to get the fuck out of here. Wait for Thursday slate and just watch football tonight. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, Bob. The thought of sitting down making lineups, that's me being. I don't know what that was. Dobbs captain with 4 Vikings. Yeah, I guess so. I would at least have 1 or 2 pass catchers with him. Maybe throw in the defense there because if Justin Fields gets behind, I think the defense could do well. All right, guys, I appreciate you being here and being understanding that I'm a sick mother father. I will be back hopefully tomorrow with Tambo. Come check that out. I'll try not to dive between now and then. Adios, amigos. Enjoy this outro.